Good afternoon. Once again, welcome to Mary's Field and a little bit of time together to do some reflection and some thinking. We're still a work in progress, so things aren't always perfect still. A couple of the days last week, we noticed that the fan from the computer interrupted things with a little bit of a noise. We think we fixed that, and hopefully as we move along, Bob, who's directing everything here, will get it to be much better reception and much better transmission for you all. Remember yesterday at the end of the day, I mentioned a little prayer to you that would be a good prayer for all of us, but especially now here on this kind of presentation. And the prayer was, Lord, help me to believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. That's a prayer that's a little tough to pray because most people don't think they're very beautiful at all, and that's a kind of a prayer that we really want to have in our lips and to help sink down into our hearts. The hearts are the most important thing we mentioned yesterday, and allow it to transform us. So let me just repeat that. Lord, help me to believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. When I'm giving talks, I ask people to not repeat it out loud. I hate when people do that in a talk or whatever. But to yourself now, just quietly repeat that with me. It really is. It is really something that's important for us. Lord, help me to believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. One more time, just to yourself, and really feeling and believing the words in your heart. Lord, help me to believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. And one more time. Lord, help me to believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. They're good words in times of stress and anxiety to help yourself to feel your own goodness, your own beauty, your own richness. Being always comes before doing. And so we have to feel our being. Lao Tzu, 5th century BC, said that the most important thing to do is to be. And so becoming and being, and that's what we're about in sharing all of the things that we do in this time with you. Yesterday we talked a little bit about St. Francis de Sales and how he could help us to slow down during this time of stress and anxiety and tension. Sometimes a time of stress and anxiety is a time of both going down and going up. Sometimes you have to do things in a negative way, and that doesn't mean that you're always sinking, but that you're going up at the same time. You're going down in order to go up. My daughter reminded me that Richard Rohr, and boy, you ever want to read anything that he writes, Richard Rohr wrote a book called Falling Upward. When I read that, I thought, what could that mean? What does that mean, falling upward? How do you fall upward? Well, sometimes in order to go up, you have to go down. In spring cleaning, in order to get the house clean, you have to take the room apart. You have to make a mess in order to be able to come out of the room with things in order and clean. So there's a process of going down in order to go up. And all the time you're going down, you're really going up. This is the story of Jesus' life, isn't it, with his passion and his death? He was always in the process during that time of going down. He lost his friends. His preaching and teaching was in shambles. It looked like it was coming to an end. He was, ordered to crucifixion. The civil and religious authorities hated him, and they were giving him a hard time. And so it looked like incredible failure. But Mother Teresa, remember, always says, it's not success that's most important, but faithfulness. Not always success, but faithfulness. And so during this time, maybe the wisdom is we're going down in our culture, in our society, in our institutions, in order to be able to go up, falling upwards. I promised yesterday that I would do another little section from St. Francis de Sales. He says so many wonderful things that are good for people's hearts. Again, spiritual reading. A book like this is like a 1 or a 2 or 3 minute book a day. Spiritual reading, the most important thing is the Bible. The monks call that Lectio Divina, divine reading. But you also have to have a little book next to your bed or something that takes a couple of minutes. But feed you that encouragement and motivation to be able to move further in your spiritual life. I put these books again on the desk here, and they're from the Ave Maria Press in South Bend. 30 days with spiritual masterpieces. They're PhDs in spirituality, these people, and Francis de Sales is one of them. So not to go on any further, but simply to share with you again, this is day one. This is a book that I gave dozens of these to my fellow teachers when I was teaching, and they all came back to me and said, "Oh my goodness, how did I?" It was a jewel, and I don't know how I lived without it. And they keep using, and I keep hearing from the teachers saying, "I continue to use it, and it continues to touch my heart because he says all of the right things in the right way." Here's another day. This is just day one in this book. An old proverb bids us make haste slowly. Likewise, King Solomon reminds us that hurried feet stumble, and those who worry themselves sick over every detail of their lives do little, and what they do poorly. The noisiest bees produce no honey. We need to nourish our spirits diligently and carefully, but this is very different from anxiety and debilitating worry. Care and solicitude don't undermine tranquility and peace of mind, but anxiety and spiritual nitpicking, to say nothing of upset and frenzy, most certainly do. Be conscientious in all you are called upon to do, but do not let hurry, upset, anxiety, and nervousness get in the way of common sense and good judgment, and prevent you from doing well what God calls you to do. Our Lord rebuked Martha by calling her back to the one thing necessary. "Martha, Martha, you are careful and troubled about many things." We may need to hear the same rebuke. And so some words of wisdom from Francis de Sales for these times of tension and anxiety. The Lord is unhappy with what's happening in the world around us, and I think everybody that really prays and listens in their own heart really knows that. And so he's doing things to transform us, and I think COVID is a part of that, and maybe the stress and anxiety is letting us know that there are things that need to be done inside of us to reacquire peace or to have peace. That's not all that tension and anxiety, as Francis de Sales said here, is not a part of the plan. That's outside the plan, and we don't want to allow that to become the normal thing in our lives. So again, one more time, do always and do whatever he tells you to do, and remember that, Lord, help me to believe the truth about myself, because that really does matter. No matter how beautiful that truth is, it is the truth about you. My wife mentioned to me today another nice word from St. Padre Pio. Think of Jesus because he is always thinking of you. Isn't that a nice thing? Who doesn't need to hear these kinds of things on a regular basis? So rejoice. These are good times in some ways, and they're very bad times. It's something like Marcus Tullius Cicero said in 4 of his famous speeches, "O tempora, o mores, O the times, O the habits," and freely translated is, these are bad times, and it's a difficult time for all of us, and so maybe some words today from Francis de Sales will be able to touch and calm your heart. Thank you for being with us. Know that you're in my thoughts and prayers. I might mention to you that I've been praying for you for many, many years. Every day I pray for those who have and who will come to Mary's Field in any way, shape, or form, and this is a part of that coming to Mary's Field. I mentioned to my students in schools, I've been praying for you for 15 or 20 years. Before you were even born, I was praying for you, so that when we come and touch each other in and through Mary's Field, it will be a touching that's more powerful because it's a touching that comes from the Lord. So peace to you. Have a good day. Good being with you. God bless.